Hey! Good afternoon, good evening, good night, or good morning, depending on where in the world you guys are watching this show.
Hey Keith, what's in store for part 2?
Well, today's show is all about big hoops.
Ooh, yes, that's right. We'll be springing into action with a floral hoop design.
Yeah, and then we'll be branching out into a jungle scene.
Can't wait to get into the workshop to get that one started.
But before that,
there's this.
Here we are!
We're back!
We are back.
It's like we never were away.
Exactly. So today's show is part 2 of Organic Hoops.
That's right.
We've got the nice picture on there of, it was actually a prom hoop that we did recently. But what we're going to do is we're going to take exactly the same technique. We're going to share that technique.
Yes.
Which is it's a simple organic feel technique.
Yes, we've done lots of proms this year.
Yeah. It's been a busy season.
Yeah, I mean, they're as popular, but they're kind of putting a bit more effort and planning into them, we've noticed, for the UK market.
Yeah, it's especially because like they kind of got blocked off for a couple of years as well. It's like people have been really going to town.
Held back and kind of going, right, we need to make the most of it while it's here.
So, prom season's good. Let us know in the comments as well about how your prom season has been. But today we're going to be using the same techniques to create something completely different.
We are. Show how versatile a technique it is.
We're going to be showing you how to use the hoop kit, which was available from Balloon Market in the UK, to create a beautiful spring design with using only latex balloons, right?
That's right. No foil on the first one.
Yep.
We are going to add some foil into the second version, but the first one we went, you know what? Latex only.
And we're going to be covering all of the techniques that you need to create, to recreate the same thing, or just go and do your own thing as well.
Absolutely. Now, I've tried to and get a shorter transition because I'm mean.
I'm ready to run. Okay, I'm going to do this run to the workshop and I'm going to beat it.
He's put his trainers on this time.
I know. The thing is that I know how much stuff is in between here and the workshop.
Who would have put that there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right, come on, let's do this.
I'm hoping anyway. So
Hi, I'm Sue Bowler, and you are watching Q Corner.
It's like I'm being mean.
Beat it. I still beat it. Yeah, I was like, he's been really mean, but I still beat it on there. So anyway, here we are.
I thought going mid-sentence that would be funny because you'd be like, oh no, you'll not start that until he finishes that sentence.
Yeah, that's what I was actually ready to say. If you don't press that button soon, I'm going to leave now. So I can't believe it. I
need shorter ones. Sue, that was brilliant, but you need to be faster.
So we are going to be doing the big hoop designs, and we would also like to explain the shape of a hoop.
Yeah.
But it's pointless.
Yeah. That was tumbleweed.
I love that joke.
Do you know who invented the hoop, though?
I don't know, Dom. Who invented the hoop?
Circumference.
Did you know, Dom, that actually
we've just lost all our audience.
Working out the area of a hoop is as easy as pi.
Yeah. Do you know how many sides a circle has?
How many sides does a circle have, Dom?
2.
2?
Inside and outside.
Oh, boo, boo, boo. Well, Dom,
Yes.
if you want to make your hoop designs more edgy,
All right, okay.
triangles. Triangles.
However, if you want to go to a full square, it needs to go through cubity.
Oh,
Yeah, no, we need to. That's it.
Stop. Right, okay, let's start doing some balloons. Right, okay, so
We can do this.
I've got this ready. We have some Dacron. Yes, I was teaching Portugal one time, and they kept thinking that I was asking for dark rum.
Oh, I'd have been.
I wasn't disappointed. I'm just saying, is that Dacron.
Now, you haven't brought it over, but we would normally use a glove when using Dacron
so that doesn't
and this
cut,
technique.
yeah.
Just because the tension generally you put on with Dacron and you're going to run it through your finger and it always goes through at the same point
Crease.
generally.
Because you have your finger like this and it kind of goes across
acts
there.
like a bit of a hook, adds the tension on, keeps it guided.
Yeah.
So use a glove or some tape around your finger, whatever's more comfortable. We like the glove because you can take it on and off with ease, whereas if you tape your finger up, the tape we don't like on for other activities, so it's taking the tape off. Glove for us is the more kind of obvious choice.
Yes.
And you can also put like a decent tape over a glove as well, as long as you don't do it too tight. You can take the glove off with the tape on.
Stop the
You're
circulation.
like,
Right, okay, let's do this. So we have the premium Cool Air 4 here, and we have a sizing box. And what I'm going to do is inflate 2 balloons. We've got different colours of balloons. We've got green. We have spring green, we've got lime green, and there's also chrome green for this one. And then we've got a set of 3 here.
Now, these are all 11 inch. Now,
Yes.
we want to do this so it's organic and what seems random.
Yes.
Now, that's harder than you think sometimes. You spend a lot of time trying to put effort in to make it random. So quite often, for the techniques that we do, is we actually put a pattern in, but a pattern that looks random.
Yeah.
So it makes it easier for the build. Takes the thought out.
You know we love our recipe-driven design. So in this one, it is spring green, a lime green, a dark green, and then a special. For one of the clusters is going to be on with the chrome green, and then every other one is going to be...
The green agate.
Yeah, the green super, the rainbow super agate, yeah. Here we go, ready? So we're going to inflate this, and we're going for 9 inches.
9 inches.
And we want it nice to be nice and round as well. So it's a nice rounded balloon. On
It adds value, this. A little bit of extra time on doing the rounding is worth it. So you can see Keith sized it to get it about right, rounded it at that point, and then just tweaked the size up to get it absolutely perfectly round and sized correctly.
And then the same thing again. So down to 9 inches. And again, soften it. And then
also adds to the
it's actually more
longevity
important. Yeah,
as
it's
well.
more important for it to be rounder than it is to be the exact size.
Exactly.
Because you're going for an organic feel anyway.
Yeah.
So if there's a slight difference in size,
You won't
don't matter.
notice it, and
Yeah.
if you do notice, it's all right because it's part of the pattern. What you do notice, though, if you get a more traditional balloon shape rather than a round balloon. So this is our one size of the cluster, which is the 9 inch, and this is a 4 balloon cluster. And the pattern will be identical on its counterpart of the 4 balloon cluster, except for this chrome green, which would be the super agate.
Which is actually all right at your feet. Dunk. There's one I prepared earlier.
Ta-da!
And then we're going to do a smaller, so the next size, so they're 9 inches, and then the next size, which is only going to be a cluster of 3, is down to 7 inches on there. So 7 inches is great. And it's the same cluster, but without the special. Okay. So once we've got 2 clusters of 3, size to 7 inches, and 2 clusters of 4,
size to 9 inches.
9 inches, we're going to start. Now, what we would actually, to do this particular hoop, we need 20 of these, and we need 20 of these to do the whole thing.
Which is why we do 10 of this version and 10 of that version to split it up.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a 4 to start off with because it's a nice steady base, and I'm going to tie a permanent knot. So I go through once and tie, and then I go through the second time and I go once and twice through the same hoop, and then put that down. Then I put my cluster of 3 on the top, and I'm not pushing it down. I am just letting it sit on the top of there.
Exactly the same as the technique we did with the smaller one. You're going to get it so it looks offset. Don't worry about the gaps. Don't worry about trying to fix it. You won't. That'll all come as we get to the end of the build.
And then I put my next 4 on the top, and I do the same thing. A figure of 8 on the top, and then the next one, and I put it on that one, and figure of 8 over there. And then we just continue on until we get the full 40 clusters all put together on the same Dacron line.
Now we don't actually need this one, so we're going to get rid of it.
This is completely spare.
I
dropped the Dacron there, so I'm just going
to bring this over and pass it to you.
This is a bit of a wind-up.
So you can see what we're talking about. Here it comes.
Okay.
Let me pass that your way first.
So as you can see, this is the the full cluster for it.
Yep. So
okay,
let's
so
go.
No, we're not yet. We're going to do the other techniques.
We're doing it first, right? Okay.
Do the techniques first, and then we'll
let's
go
do
through
that.
it.
Right. Let's move that out of the way, and then we'll come back to that. I see where you're going.
So we've got our main garland there of 40, and then what we're going to need is we're going to need some extra fillers on here.
Yep.
So it's 2 clusters of 3.
So this is 5-inch like we did with the other one. So on the small hoops, we did 5-inch for the garland round, and then we also did very small 2.5-inch and 2-inch, I think, for the infill bits, if you like. This one we're still sticking with the 5-inch because they'll size up nicely, still looking really round to 4.5 inches. Do you want the size of the box?
Yes.
I did move it out of the way because I forgot we were doing it that way.
Okay.
So yeah, 4.5 inches we're going to do for these, and 3.5 inches.
If you're using the Cool Air 4, and you put your adapters on there for doing 5-inch, remember to put the other side on, otherwise most of the air goes out of this side and these ones will struggle to inflate.
You can also change the power on the side of that one as well.
Yeah. So 4.5 inches.
Lovely.
And we turn that into a cluster of 3. And again, nice and round.
Having these oversized and rounded helps with their durability, which is really good for the way we attach this onto the hoop as well.
So this one's going to be 3.5 inches.
Yeah.
It's on the last side that you check. So check the last side first.
I'd use a spin. It's on the 5th side. Yes, when it goes onto the hoop, we're going to, manhandle this garland and push this onto the hoop. So having these as a little bit softer and more durable is really helpful and makes it easier for the build.
And then 3.5 inches. Whoop. And from there, what we're going to do is take a neck from here, and I've got a scrap of 160Q. It's actually a third of a 160Q. And I'm going to tie that onto one of the necks. Whoop. And then hand that to you.
And do the same thing from the other side. Take one of the necks and tie that to the other end of that 160Q. And that gives us a mechanical connection between the 2 clusters, which means it's easier for us to pull it into the design and add that in and move it around anywhere we want as well. So really good. You don't have to worry about glues and tapes or anything like that. This gives you the longevity, but also really quick and easy to do. Yep. And you can move it as and when you're tweaking the design up.
And you need 20 of them.
You do, yes.
For every one of you, because one of these is going to go on every large cluster. Your clusters are 4, yeah? One's the size of 9 inches.
And to see you guys watching us, we've got them all ready as well, so they're prepared for the next step, so we'll come back to that.
The last thing that we're going to do before we start putting it all together on this side is we're going to dress it with the flowers, because we said it was going to be a kind of a spring floral design, yeah?
Yes, and we want to go with some colours that work for that, and we want to go with latex because it gives us a lot more scope.
So we want these and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Because we're going to be doing these in 2 different sizes. Same technique for both, but we've got the 5-inch for one of the sizes and the 11-inch for a second size.
Yeah, and then I'm going to take half. Well, I'm just going to take a 160Q and chop it in half.
We need one more yellow as well. Have you got it?
I do have one more yellow. Here it is.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
You want to do this one?
Can do, yes. Right. Okay, so we're going to do...
I'm going to give you this.
Let's do the 5-inch first. These are going to be sized to 4.5 inches.
4.5 inches. So that means we should be able to spin it. Oh, yeah.
It
was. You literally could have gone the other way.
More luck than
it would have been. Yeah.
Yeah. So
4.5 inches on there.
Make sure they go through nicely. Lovely. Tie
I want to
them
get
together.
ready with this last one.
Super.
I'm gonna dive in there and use the inflator.
That's what's great about that piece of equipment though. They'll just keep running for you.
Yeah.
So we've got a 2 balloon cluster, a 2 balloon cluster, and now I'm going to add one more balloon.
That makes it into a 5, doesn't it, Dom?
It does.
Yeah.
Now, there's different ways of doing it. You can, if you wish, take these 2 sets of balloons, make a 4 balloon cluster, and then add the 5th one in.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. However, we do find it easier, because there's less balloons in the way, to add that single one onto the 2 to make it a 3.
Yeah.
Just it's less fuss. Then we can bring in the second set and it gives us our 5 balloon cluster.
And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the 3-inch template on here, and I'm just going to downsize to 3 inches on there, and downsize to 3 inches on there, and tie them together.
This will never sit right. This is always going to fight you. It's always going to want to push up because there's more balloon than space, which is exactly why we've got this particular connector. Now, for this flower, what you're going to see is on the front, and that's what that 5-inch yellow is for. Mm-hmm. Now, we've got this extra one on the back, which is the green. So when we bring that through the middle, that green is going to match up with the garland, so it's kind of just blends in, and its only purpose is to help stabilize this design. Yeah. See, now even just pushing that in, I haven't twisted it, it's just been pushed through the side, and that's already stabilized it without having to worry. Now, when you do pull this into the design, that garland is going to add some structure at the back, it's going to help it. However, it just makes it easier for working. If you wish, you can actually just kind of give that a little bit of twist round, or use one of the necks just so it won't ever come out. However, just pushing it in from the side as well is probably just as good.
Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing but with 11 inches, and these ones are going to be size to 7-inch. There we go, there's a 7-inch. So off we go. So 7s and 7s. Do the third one.
I'm seeing if I can dive in for 3-inch size, if I'm lucky. Thank you very much. It was 3 inch you did for the centre of that one as well.
No, it's 1.5.
I was just doing the same.
I know, I was just thinking. I wasn't thinking.
You can do the same for the back though.
4.5 inches is there.
There we go.
Okay, and then I need 7 inches for the front to do this last duplicate.
The back doesn't matter, it can be any size really, it's not as important.
No, it's just to have a little balloon there to give it something to stabilize itself against. And then through there to give our cluster of 5. Now I can move that down there because we don't need that.
Right, so we can add that one in like we did with the 5-inch flower. Just bring that through the middle.
It went straight through the middle.
I'm going to swap them sides to lock them into position. You can see with just those 2 5-inch balloons how well that adds the stabilisation to that 5 balloon cluster, make that lovely flower.
It is, it's lovely.
Got 2 extra 5-inch here.
Oh, what do we use them for,
One
Dom?
for you, one for me.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, we need one more of those.
I did. Oh, did it end up in? It didn't. Fell in
So
there.
another part 160Q. I'm going to tie that onto another 5-inch, and these are sized to about 3 inches. And these are just a connection method. I tied a knot to not tie a knot.
Oh, it was a knot.
Knot.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to take a neck from the back of the flower, and we're going to tie that onto the other end of that one piece of 160Q.
Now, ideally the green. Keith's gone with the pink. We'll mix it a little bit.
Just the green, the actual green was caught up in the middle of it, so
It's not so important on the bigger one because it's hidden really well with the flower.
Yeah.
The 5-inch one, depending on where it's placed, you're more likely to see behind, because actually you could probably even get away with the same pink colour for the larger ones. However, the smaller ones, there's more of a chance that you could see maybe at the side. So we've gone with green, so it sits on the garland, and using the green connector also helps hide that into the design as well.
There
it is.
So with this is that the whole idea is that this is a very fast way of being able to pull it into the design. So a lot of the times we're working off site, so these will go into a bag separately, and so will the garland, and we get on site, we throw it onto the hoop, and then we throw all of our extras onto the design as quick as we possibly can.
All the extras are ready to roll as well, so let's pop them in there for the moment.
That's spare. We don't need that one. Yeah, and there's a spare, so we'll keep them separate.
Even better for when we break one.
Right, so now we do need to go across to that side.
We do. Let's have a look-see over there. There we go.
There we go.
We might need that.
Keep them flowers just to this side for the moment.
And we might need that.
And we'll keep that for that side for the moment.
Are we not moving this round yet or not? Are we all right?
Oh, we know we can do. Yeah. All about that.
I was just kind of thinking ahead to go, right, let's move that.
You need to disconnect that and...
Which is done. Let's see if I can do this without
Let's move them out the way there. And then, while that's starting to go on there, Dom's moving this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our nice big garland of 20 large and 20 small, and then at either end, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to tie it together. So I've taken a neck from our first and last cluster, and I'm going to try and create quite a bit of tension in there and tie those together. So now the whole thing is a big hoop by itself. Okay, it's just one large piece of garland.
Lovely.
It is lovely. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start from any particular place that we want. I'm going to need, thank you very much.
Very challenged we are.
Yeah. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this into the hoop. So I'm going to get Dom to stand on the other side, because this hoop is from Balloon Market. It's a really nice lightweight hoop. If you can just hold onto the hoop so that it doesn't go flying away from me. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the first one in. And this is the only one that I generally do it with, is I'm going to take necks and I'm just going to tie it.
It doesn't even need to be tight as well. It's just for a bit of positioning.
It's just to hold it, so that it's held onto the design.
Extra set of hands.
And then I'm going to pull this in there. I've got a footstool here that I can hop up onto.
I'm just looking at our camera there as well. I can see there's a talking hoop on screen.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Hello.
Well, you know, as somebody famous once said, it's not easy being green.
Someone said it's as easy as pie, I think you said earlier.
Yes. I'm going to move over this section. Move to the middle. Whoop. And again, I'm just pulling it onto the hoop.
What I love about this is you can turn up on site. You've got your bag with the garland in, which is already done, and you know it's the right size. You've got a bag with the flowers in, a bag with the sort of the connector infills, and you're not having to spend hours on site trying to dress it and wondering how you're going to do it. You've got a pre-planned recipe.
Well, you guys know that we don't like to. We like to spend as little time on site as we possibly can. Okay, so the more that we can do off-site, thank you. You take that with you as well.
Yep.
So, the more you can do off-site in the workshop, we can control that space a lot better than any on-site position. So it means that we can do all of our inflation.
No equipment needs to go on site for this.
Make as much noise as we want to.
Yeah.
And then just go in there and throw it onto the hoop.
I think we've always found that the biggest draw to people coming across to talk to you at a venue is when you're doing the inflation.
Yeah.
That seems to get the because of the noise and you sort of stood doing it.
It attracts people at that point,
you're more
right?
approachable at that point. When you're doing something like this, they can see you're really busy and sort of just, yes, watch, that's great. However, they're not going to interrupt you so much. Whereas the inflation, we always seem to have people come over and just kind of have a long conversation, which you tend to start going slower, not concentrating, inflate things incorrectly. Not us.
We'll never do that.
We never get distracted.
Far too professional for that.
You'll also notice as well that Keith's placed that garland on at the front of the hoop, the sort of the viewpoint, if you like, and then he's pulling it backwards onto the hoop. So the undressed side of this design is the back.
Oh, definitely.
And you will get glimpses of the frame, of which we can fix and will fix with some of the connectors. However, we've made this design very specifically to be front-facing. We're not overly worrying about making it dressed both sides. So the odd glimpse on the back, we're not concerned about.
Should we put this towards the middle-ish?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, if we did want it to be dual-sided, it's just a case of adding a couple more balloons in, just to fill in the odd gap that appears. But it's not really like a big drama. So let me
I was going to say
reach that and go that one. There we go.
There we go.
Better.
Right, okay. So now we've got our lovely big, well, we will do in a minute.
Yes. Because we're short.
Yes, so now we're going to add in our 5" into this design. I can see something there, I can see a leg, and I can particularly see a leg on this side, which I don't like. So I'm going to, even before we start, I'm just going to pull in one of my 11" there and block that off on this side. And then on this side I can see the same thing. So again,
this is a case of standing back and having a look at it. Now on site you won't have the benefit of having the camera pointing directly to it and giving a live feed, but you can use your own phone.
Exactly, you've got a camera in your pocket.
Just stand back for a moment, take a picture and do it. One thing we haven't mentioned as well is when we've inflated these, the colour sequence we've done is we've done about the same amount of each one. So we have got 7 of the smaller lime green, 7 of the larger lime green,
yes.
7 of the larger green,
yeah.
and 7 of the smaller green, 6 of the spring green in
and
2 sizes.
Largest, yeah.
So it gives us 20 sets. And then we've tied them with that connector, but we've done mismatch. So the dark green is with a different green. It's not with a dark green and dark green. And it doesn't matter which, just kind of mix it up a bit. And it wouldn't matter if one of them landed the same.
Yeah.
But we have also opted for singular colour on these clusters as well.
The reason that we've done that is when you look at this, you can see there's areas, because we've just randomly put it on, right? We haven't put this green here, or whatever. So we can see, like for this section here, there's a lot of lime green in there. So what we can do is,
well, you
because
could
these are
spend
random,
some time if you wanted to manipulate these around and go, well, actually, we could put a lime green to the back and bring, because we know on this cluster we've got a spring green and a dark green. So you could have a bit of a play around and try and get
what we're going to do is on here is we're going to pull in a green and to break up that colorway. So I've got a dark green onto there, and then I'm going to bring in, I'll put in this over to this side. So there is a little bit more lime green on this side, but it's absolutely fine because it breaks off the idea of a spiral.
Yes.
And then we have one of these for every one of our larger clusters. So now what we're going to do is just take it in there. And
you don't need to overthink it because these are mixed up as well.
Yeah.
It's just if you do see, like here, for instance, here's a good example, Keith. We've got dark green, dark green. So we've got 3 layers there and it's created that spiral. So picking something with a lime green or a spring green in it, which will help just block that out and break that up a little bit.
I'm going to do this one first because this is here we go.
Yeah, because you've got one for every connection, so.
And we go around, and it's just keeping an eye on it, and you don't have to do this on every one, so you don't have to break it up. Sometimes you want a larger amount of one colour, but what you're doing is just keeping an eye on it as you work on it.
Customers won't notice it so much, it's us, because we're so used to doing classic as well. We see the spirals and everything. We see the fact that, okay, we've got a spiral going one way, and we're seeing those patterns, whereas actually it still looks very random and organic to most people.
I could do with that one, I think. Actually, it's up. Yeah,
couldn't decide there, could you?
I
don't want it, I want it. Yeah.
So just going to bring this up here.
I used to be indecisive.
Now I'm not so sure.
Right, yeah, that one for up that one next, I think. But because we've got that 160Q connector, it really is easy to just pull that through, even working at height. Now, if you're not comfortable at working at height and you've got nothing to stand on, this hoop is really versatile in the fact that if you put a couple of chairs down, you could lie this down. So it's not on the floor, it'll be lying on its base plate, leaning up against 2 chairs at the side. Or you could even put 4 chairs out and have it a raised hoop off the floor, which means you can then do all your dressing, walking around it, and then put it upright. So work within what's comfortable for you. You know, so often you'll see people working on an arch and, you know, reaching up, jumping up and all the rest of it. You know, even with a fixed base plate and pole, you can pull out the sides a bit more and make it wider to lower the centre. We're almost there.
We are almost there.
Oops.
Whoop.
It's alive.
That one was indeed alive.
So Keith's using the larger size cluster as the sort of the hit point for where it's being put into, but it doesn't mean that's where it stays. You've got scope of, you know, at least a layer either side of being able to bring each one of those clusters to.
Yeah.
So there's plenty to work with and make it look like it's not in layers and a pattern.
All we're trying to do at the moment is get them on in roughly the right area, and then we'll finesse them.
That stand back and finessing is the final part, and that'll be your last one there. Move that to one side. Lovely. Look at the camera, see what we're looking at.
I'm actually going to bring that one down underneath there.
Now that you see me aimlessly looking at the screen, well, I am actually looking at the pattern just to see if there's anything that's jumping out at me. I seem to have a little bit of a space here as well, so maybe some
space there.
Sort of a
Right, well, let's move that down there.
There we go. And what I was pointing out there is because there's an absence of any balloon, it just sort of broke the circle shape a little bit there, so it drew attention to it for no reason, and that's not where we want the attention drawn to.
So we step back, and we have a good look around here. I can see a gap down here, so I'm just going to move the 11-inch around a little bit so that protects that. Here, we'll move that to there.
But the trick is throwing them in first, and then that little look back and just dress it a little bit. Now, don't overly worry, because we're going to be adding more on as well. This is not the final hoop.
It could be, though,
It
right?
absolutely could be. If this was the final hoop, then we'd spend a little bit more time on making sure these are perfect, and we could even have some single 5-inch balloons that you could bring in, again on connectors, so they're joined together, so you're not trying to rummage and try and tie them, but a single balloon onto a single balloon tied with a 160Q for any odd little gaps that you feel you need to fill, if this was the final look.
But it isn't, because we've already said.
We've got flowers.
We've got the flowers, so we've got to...
Have I got the plain ones?
That doesn't work in America, I tell you. Yeah,
they need to get
these
with
are the self-raising flowers. So what we're going to do on here is we've got enough to do one on every one, like the 5-inch. But what we're going to do is we're going to start with a pattern. So we're going to start with rose, actually. So I'm going to start with rose, and then the little one is going to be offset. So the little one's going to be pink. So you can see my order there.
Oh yes, okay.
Yeah, full titles.
So this is, you've got an order of you've got 5. Is it 5 colours we've got?
5 colours.
5 colours. A sequence of 5 colours.
And we've got 20 of the large clusters.
So the large ones are going to go around in a singular sequence, and then also the smaller ones are going to do the same sequence but be offset from that as well. So it's like sort of a cannon. It's going to follow on and be the same pattern but just outstepped.
Yeah. And because we've already attached a 5-inch on the end of it, and so I don't have to worry too much about these extra ones, because I can just go in and I can put that to the back, and that's it. It's
just
already
so that single 5-inch can just
disappear.
disappear. Lovely. So you want pink.
So the next one is pink, and then we want spring lilac on the larger one.
So this pattern was checked out, and we just laid the flowers out, so we like that pattern. It works for us. It's good to have that written down for when you land on site, you then know, okay, I know what I'm doing. So coral's the next one, yes?
Coral is indeed the next one.
And then you want wild berry in the larger one. And then you want a rose.
Berry on this one. Every rose has its thorn. So they say. I'm going to have to get this
vertical adjuster.
Vertical, yes.
Pink.
It's the vertical challenged. Boom, 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 boom. And then spring lilac. Whoop. I'm stretching, and I should move this.
Here, you need to remove.
Yeah.
And coral.
Coral.
and wild berry. Pink's going to be next.
Berry of the wild variety, eh?
So then after coral, it is going to be wild.
So wild berry, so back to rose.
That's the one.
Rose large, so.
Oh, sorry, that's why I was confused myself. Rose.
Rose large.
Then you want pink small.
Make sure I am getting that. Okay, so I'm stepping off to this one.
And then pink for the 5-inch.
Thank you.
And then
Pink on this side. Then
spring lilac again.
spring lilac.
Spring lilac. And then pink.
Well, hey.
And then coral. Ooh, it's giving me. I'll fix that one.
Coral.
Coral and spring lilac and pink. It's all the way over here.
Was that one out as a tester?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the we're just hiding over there. So pink, so coral, that's the coral.
Pink.
There's rose.
Spring lilac, yeah?
No, it's the isn't it 5-inch one? Oh, sorry, yes, I'm on the wrong one. I was looking at that one. So coral, and you want rose, which I've got in my hand. I did pick up the right one. I said pink, but I had rose in my hand.
Spring lilac.
Coral, then rose for the 5-inch. Is that right?
Pink, then spring lilac. So coral.
So I thought as we got pink, coral, rose.
Coral, this is supposed to go to wild berry. That's why this is wrong.
Oh, okay. And that's why we have a pattern written down.
And then from wild berry, it goes pink. Small. Yes? Wild
rose.
berry, rose, sorry.
Yeah. I got my eye in on the smaller pattern,
Right,
but I
okay.
got this one out of sync. So rose, and after the rose, it's then the pink large. And then after the pink large, we've got the spring lilac small. So let me move that out the way. So that'll be your next one. And after that one, it's going to be this
So
one.
we're going down here.
You can see we're thinking now because we're not talking.
Yeah. Spring lilac.
That one.
Coral. And then one more.
Yep, which is the wild berry, which brings us back into the rose. Guarantee someone was shouting at us when I passed you that pink one. No, not the pink, dumb!
You can guarantee it.
Yeah. And if not, why not?
You should have been.
You've been watching.
Should have been letting us know.
Although, to be fair though, sometimes under our studio lights, the colour difference, you can't always see between wild berry pink and coral anyway. So.
Yeah. They'll see it on the picture later though.
Yes, absolutely, because we will share that. Yeah, so
Right.
now we've got our pattern there, so we're going to start off with the larger ones. So we've got the rose, spring lilac, wild berry, pink, coral.
I'm just going to step back.
Then it
and have a
starts
look.
again. We've got the rose. Where's it start at? Let's say rose, spring lilac, wild berry, pink, coral. Then we start again with the rose, spring lilac, wild berry, pink, and coral. So that's our 2 sets of the pattern with the larger size. Then we do the same thing, but as we're starting at the rose, we'll look at the rose from here. So we've got the rose, the spring lilac, the wild berry, the pink, and the coral. Rose, spring lilac, wild berry, pink, and the coral. So it's the same colour sequence twice in the two different sizes. The only thing is we've just twisted it around a bit, so the rows of the smaller size starts a couple of layers afterwards. So when you stand and look back, it just looks like this really lovely random presentation of the flowers, and it looks great. We're both looking at the picture now.
I know, I'm just looking at it,
nice.
just going,
Really
there's a
happy
couple
with
of just tweaks.
Yeah, as always. You know,
And what I'm doing as well is that if you use your 5-inch that you've got here, I can actually push it behind and then put it back in the position that I want it to. So I want it to
And
sit.
again, if you need something very particular, you can do another 5-inch balloon with a 160Q on, just to bring in anywhere you need to add in stability and to fill in any gaps if need be.
Yeah, or use balloon sticky dots and put them exactly where you want them.
Yeah, you got lots of options.
But
there
that'll
as
look
well.
fantastic.
Love it. Yeah.
I think that's absolutely amazing.
What I think we should do is have a photo of this one.
Yeah,
so
I
we can
agree.
share it, and then while we're sharing that photo, we're going to take it all apart.
Absolutely.
Ready
So,
for number 2.
here we go. Let's take a still and then go. Welcome back.
Oh, number 2 of number 2.
It is number 2 of number 2. So we've stripped off all of the flowers
Yep.
from there, and we've got it back
Just
to the
to
basic
say-
hoop.
See it here?
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to redress it in a kind of a jungle-y theme. Yeah.
Yes.
Tropically jungle theme.
That's
yeah?
right. So we've got 3 different elements that
Yes.
we're going to add onto this one.
Okay.
The first one being is foil.
Foil.
And we've got 2 types of foil. We've got
Yes.
the philodendron. Is
Yeah,
it
philodendron leaf. Yeah.
Yeah, easy to say, not easy to spell. And we've also got the toucan as well. So that's the 2
Yes.
different ones we're going to be using. Connection method on this one is we've used some of the fantastic, always used click stretchy balloon tape. So it's a single-sided, super sticky one. And we've applied that onto the back of the foil right in the middle there. And then we've used, let me just bring that in close if I can. We've got the stretchy tape that runs across. It's sort of transparent, so it is pretty invisible.
Invisible.
This is just a single piece we put on there, but you could also do the H connection, so you can have the 2 extra pieces if you wanted to add the belts and braces. to make
Yeah,
that
but at the moment
indestructible.
we've got temperature. We've got good temperature, so we're.
We
absolutely
have,
fine.
and also prepped in advance.
Yeah.
That's the great thing. So this is taped up a day, 2 days before, if need be, inflated with the Premium Foil Pro, so it sets the perfect pressure. Then we've got that 160Q connector with a 5-inch balloon size.
Same as what we did for the flowers.
Nothing special on this one. It's just the same techniques, and keep it nice and simple. That 5-inch will disappear in the design, but give us loads of mechanical connection. We have, where we always can do it, is we put that connection on the back of the foil where the barcode is, and we've used the valve. Fold it back over, just using one of the balloon sticky dots to stick onto the back of the valve, and then just tack that down, keeps it out of the way, keeps it protected, and hides the barcode. So
Yep.
a win-win. So we do the same with the philodendron leaves and with the toucans.
Yes, and then we're going back out there. That's fantastic. What we're also going to do is a little bit of latex on there too. We're going to add some big woven rose flowers. For that, we
Always a
use 5 350Qs, in this case wild berry, and they're sized. We basically left about 3 fingers of tip left on there. It's not that important. And then what I've done is we've tied them into hoops. So I've got 4 of them already tied into hoops.
It's more the fact that you're pretty consistent with that sizing,
Yes.
rather than the fact that you're leaving 3, 4, 5 fingers worth at
Yeah.
the end. It just changes your loop size, and what you want is those loops to be about the same size.
So I've got my 4 loops onto there. I'm going to turn this one into a 5th loop. And then I'm going to pull each one into the middle of there. So in and a twist, in and twist.
And you're just bringing those connections together and just pulling them together, and then that little twist locks it in place.
Yep.
Means it's not going to fall out. Not overly complicated, but just keeps it all nice and neat.
Yeah, and it means that it's all twisted across in the centre.
It's the easier way of tying them together, because
Yep.
you could just keep adding another loop in and tying it, but it just it's as we did with those the 5 balloon cluster. It's the more balloons you bring in, the less space you have to work. So doing a loop, a loop, a loop, then bringing them together,
Yeah.
it's easy.
But if
It's
you've got a
6
different way,
fingers.
that's absolutely fine. Right, now what we're going to do is going to create the woven rose. So I'm just going to go through it. If you want to watch it back, remember you can watch this video on half speed or even quarter speed.
Slow us down.
So you can slow it down. But what you need to do is have 3 loops sitting on top of each other, like this. And then I take the one from the back and I push that forward and I replace it with the one at the front. And that's it. So I turn, across the 3 loops, and I just keep going round. We've been using this woven rose for absolutely years. Our customers love it because they find that is quite magical, and it's very different from...
It's very versatile design as well.
It's great.
And what you've done with that as well, as you often do, when you're doing that technique, move it around like a steering wheel.
Yes.
So you're doing the technique in the same place, so it builds that muscle memory rather than trying to follow it round and then working sort of upside down in the wrong angle. That's where you sort of, it's easier to get more confused with that twist.
And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to size this to, it'll be 4.5 inches. But I
Do you
don't,
want the sizing box? I'm going to get it.
if you've got it.
All the rest are to 4.5, so let's do this one. Only because it was there. If it was much further, I wouldn't have done it.
4.5. We don't like eyeballing things as a standard, but when you've been doing it for a long time, you do get a rough idea of the sizes. But it's still nice to check to be accurate.
Then you've done the back one 3 inches there. That's going to hide into the design. That one really doesn't matter what size it is. It's going to hide into the organicness of that garland.
Exactly the same as the other flowers, right?
Yep.
It's just, it's on there. And then what I'm going to do is taking the neck of that 5 inch, I'm going to bring this into the design, pull it right into the middle, and I'm just going to wrap that 5 inch into there. In fact, I can tie it to another neck if I wanted to make sure that it stays
And that's just so it doesn't pull out. So if Keith was to add this into the design and pull it the wrong direction of that, it's possible that could come through that twist there. So now it's not going to happen. So, not that it's a disaster, but it's just kind of making it easier for when you do that.
So that's another thing that we're going to do. The last thing
we've got our foils, we've got our flowers, and then the last one is we're going to use some 260Q to create some vines.
Yes.
To add another texture, another little bit of kind of
technique as well for us.
It's like, why not? So we've got a mixture of the colours. We've got some spring green, we've got some lime green, we've got some dark green, and we've got some chrome green in there as well.
Exactly the same colours as the hoop.
Now, I would have done the agate.
Super agate green.
But they haven't made them.
Well, what you need to do is take a lime green and 3 different colours of green Sharpie.
That's right.
Make your own.
Go to town. So, taking an uninflated 260Q, and I'm just going to add a small amount of air. I put too much in there. I'm going to squeeze it out a little bit and just leaving a small bubble. These do not have to be all the same size. And in fact, a little bit of variety in these sizes actually adds a nice bit of detail.
It is the spice of life, as they say.
So, let me just do a few of these first. You can do these as you go, or you can kind of do them in batches like we have, because you want to do quite a few of these. Also, by doing a mix, it makes that randomness of the joining.
That'll do.
Right, so I've got a selection there. I'm going to start off with one of them, and where the knot on top of the bubble is, I'm going to tie that to the end of the next one. So
I want to do that for you as well on this one.
there we go. So it can be done in batches really easy. So Keith's done that one, and that one now can be added into, so that's the end of yours, yeah? That can now be added into this one. Don't worry about the same colour going to the next colour the same as well, because that creates the random look as well, because otherwise if you just keep doing a sequence, you notice the pattern, but by breaking it up, by having 2 together the same, it really does change that up.
The only problem is I have with this, Dom, I can see all the mechanics, it looks awful.
So we need to hide that. Okay, so starting, it doesn't matter where you start, but just starting at the top of the knot, if you've got any kind of extra longer bits from the tying, don't worry about cutting them off. Just bundle them all together, push it onto the top of that knot, and push that all the way through. Where you're aiming to push that through is down to that uninflated section there. Once I've got it at that bit with my fingers on the outside of that balloon, I'm going to grab that knot, remove my finger, and put 2 or 3 twists in that. Then push that back into that bubble.
So it's a tulip twist, that's what it's the
and it locks that in. It's nothing that we haven't done before on the channel. It's just adding it into this particular colourways on 260Qs just to add that extra bit of detail that will work really well for this particular design. And as we always say, having those sort of tools in your toolbox of techniques, you can use them to add great value to designs.
It's the inexpensive product, simple techniques, increases perceived value. It's what we keep telling you guys, and we really do mean it.
We haven't got anything to tie off on the end of this one, so we're going to take the end of that knot, bring it in. So we just haven't got that, the uninflated 260 coming out, but it works just the same. Put that twist in, push that into place, and then we have that as the end one, and then we would use that as our start one, and that gives us this really cool vine technique. One looks a bit sad. But when you add them as a bundle and put 2, 3, 4, 5, and when they're draped together, it look fantastic.
Sometimes what happens is that it comes off to one side like this, and it's not in the middle. It looks like that. If you just take it and push it, you can manipulate it, and it goes straight through the middle and get that.
However, as these are vines and all very organic,
doesn't matter.
There's no worry in kind of spending that time. And again, in fact, having them sort of off to one side looking gnarly adds to that flavour as well. But if you are trying to do it, then that little tweak will sort that out.
Yeah, right. I'm going to do this side. You're going to move across there.
Right, here we go.
I'm going to move this out the way.
We're going to go there. Lovely. Right, and do that. Squeeze through. Let me go grab some vines.
We're good.
Yep. So let me lay them out there for when we get to those. Also, you can do pre-made sections of these vines as well, and then you just connect them into each other as well. And if you've got some that are a little bit too long, you can just chop them as well and just use that bit elsewhere.
And pull this back in the centre.
Right, we're going that way. Let me change that then, because I put that over there, and I want to be there. Lovely.
Super. So what we've got is 2 toucans.
2 can play at that game.
Yeah, with the Doppler on the end there, and we've got them facing opposite directions.
We have.
And then we've got 3 of the philodendron leaves, and we've got 4 of the flowers. So what we're going to do is we're not going to even them out perfectly. In this case, it's not going there, then there, then there, then there.
Because we could do that. We could absolutely run a pattern all the way around and have it the same kind of thought process as the last one. Yeah. But this one, we want to dress it a little bit different to show that you can play around with that.
So what we're going to do in this one is actually, I'm going to start with the middle, right in the top. So I'm going to get the middle.
Those.
And we're going to do leaves. So
there's the first one.
I'm going to put that leaf into the centre. Push that up there.
Great stuff. And then number 3.
Yeah. We'll position them in the exact place that we want it to go.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just want them in that centre.
Roughen them out, get them ready.
Our middle one's over to one side.
You see all right? Yeah.
Me doing it from this side is a bit awkward. Right, okay.
Great.
You get the idea. We've got 3 leaves for the centre.
Now, we will be bringing some vines down from there. However, they're going to dress it. They're sort of the finishing touch. They want to be draping over the other elements as well. So we're going to leave those for the moment and come back to the top.
Yes.
Probably best the toucans next, right?
Yeah.
Now,
so
are we going to have them facing out over?
Out over, inwards.
Yeah, so you can do either or. So that's the out over. Let's do a little swapsy.
The inwards actually works better, and the reason for it is partly to do with the actual curve of the toucan, so that this way it actually fits with the design much better. Also, the looking inwards, and
it's looking towards that focal point, right?
Yeah.
So we would be either having someone stood in front of this to have a photo taken, or someone stood behind it to have the photo taken. So having the toucans looking towards that focal point makes the most sense.
Yes, and because we want them to appear in the photograph as well, and most people either take a close-up from kind of here upwards for the design when they're taking the photograph, or higher. It means that what we want to do is we actually want to be putting them kind of like almost shoulder height, so it's like chest shoulder height, so somewhere around here.
And again, you've got that flexibility with that 5-inch connector that we can move it around anyway. So as long as it's roughly the right height, we can tweak it up afterwards.
We can put it exactly where we want it. Lovely. So now we've got a space up here, and we've got a space down the bottom. And remember, we had our 4 wildberry woven roses to finish it off. So if I give you 2 on that side, and I'll take 2 on this side.
2 to go over the toucan.
2 to go over the toucan. Up here. And then the other one, not exactly in the centre, it wants to be just under the toucan, so it's going to be like here and here. And the reason being is that when people take the photos, if they're doing a single, they're going to stand in there, so you want the flowers on either side of them. That will work much better than having it right in the middle behind.
It's twofold, isn't it? One visually and also one physically as well. It's not pushing them away from it, you want to kind of bring them into it.
So again, we're just aiming things kind of like inwards a little bit, so that when they appear on the photo, it frames the person that's standing in the photo.
So I'm just doing what you did before, using the 5-inch clusters that are already on the hoop to position that now, because it was in the best position for filling the gap, but that gap can't be seen because of the flower. So I'm using it to push and bring that flower to face inwards rather than disappearing outwards.
And then we're going to step back and have a look. I can see that right hand side too. Can probably just do with coming up a touch.
This one here.
It looks about right. I think it's just pointing outwards slightly on this flower. So we want it to come round so that it's kind of, again, it's, if you think about somebody standing at the front with a camera, you want it so that the open, there we go, so the open part of the flower is kind of almost aimed at the camera.
Yeah, and it really is thinking about it from the point of view of a camera as well, which is why we always advocate taking a photo of it of yourself.
Yes. So, if we look at that, and that's really quick, right?
A great test one on this one as well. If you're doing a venue dressing and you've got people there, even if it's staff members, ask them to jump in so you can get a photo with them as well. They love it.
Especially if they're in uniform.
Yeah, because it's a great one for your album to show that, you know, you've got this business and they're in it. But also as well, it's great for you to do a test shot to make sure it's framed right and it works for you.
Okay, the last thing that we need to add into here is these vines. So
you get the kickstone, I'll pass them up.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go behind again. I took it out of there and I left that one on purpose, but there we go.
Yeah.
Because now we're going to fill this space, so it's not designed for people to stand inside, because the big problem with, if you're using this as a photo prop and you're in here, is that you're going to need some lights from underneath to shine at the guests.
Yeah, it's
because
quite shadowy.
it's very shadowy under here. You've got to kind of got to come through, see how it's their shadow. And this has got, I've got studio lights in here as well. It's really bright. So if we block this off, it's definitely going to be a backdrop rather than a throw. But on the other side is that if you do have some soft boxes, you can always pop them in to make
quite often some coloured lights as well that can add to the value of it as well. So that is going to be that way up for you. That's the top.
Okay.
Now we've not measured these. These are all different lengths and different sizes, so use them as you wish. You can tuck them in, drape them around like curtains as well. So
yeah. So if I wanted to do it like that, even though it's got an open end on, that's absolutely fine.
It adds to it. I've just finished that one off there as well because I left them open so we can add on to it. I've just finished that last tulip twist off on the end.
Okay.
Just to make that neat because I don't want to see a knot. I don't mind the open end of the 260Q, but you don't want to really see the knot nozzle side of.
And because we have so many of these 5-inch that are sitting around here, I'm not tucking it in so much. All I'm doing is I'm actually using the 5-inch and then using them as attachment points to pull into it. It also means as well is that if a guest decides to pull onto these, they're just going to be pulling on a 5-inch rather than the whole frame.
Yes.
So it's got a bit of elasticity to it.
It's the green one.
Oh, thanks for the green one. Dom, we need more green over here.
Okay, yep, we can do that. Right in our wheelhouse, that one.
Yeah, I've got a 5-inch off the flower here, which is pulled in. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring it round to this section because I want to have a connector there.
Another green one.
That's fantastic.
And we've got another green one.
Great, that'll do, I think.
Excellent.
Do. Onto here.
But of course, you can have as much fun as you like with these.
Yeah.
You can also dress around the flowers. So Keith's done these ones here that are hanging from the frame to create that effect there. But there's nothing wrong with if you wanted to, you know, if you wanted to bring them round the design, bring them through the flower.
You can even turn these into curtains.
Yeah.
So that these pull out. So half of them from this side pull over to this side to create a curtain or to create more interest, or like Dom said, around the flowers.
Yeah.
But
love them. Excellent.
And there we go. So, what do you think?
I love it.
Of our jungle frame?
Again,
well, let's push it all the way back.
We'll get another photo of this one to share as well.
Yeah, we'll do one with and without the vines so that you can use it as a through or a background. But it's a super cute. Oh, I need to move that leaf. Didn't do that.
It's
Did not do that.
Standing back and checking it, isn't it? That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I want it that way.
Yeah. Over there.
I want this one this way.
Yes, so we'll do a photo as it is, so it's in its kind of current state, and we'll also do one, as Keith said there as well. We'll take the vines back off it as well, so you can have one with and one without. Mm-hmm. Leaf it there, Keith.
I'm going to leave it alone in a minute. It's like with anything, right? You can play with it forever.
Again, a couple of glue dots between the leaves there as well
like
to
that.
add some stabilisation if you needed to. Sometimes you've got a venue with some air conditioning and some fans going and they can move things. So that's, once you've got it in position, you can add some additional mechanical fixes to keep it in situ.
So we hope that you've really enjoyed today's show.
Of course I have, Keith.
If you have, please drop a like on the video, leave a comment, say what you think about it, and also what you'd like to see us to do in the future as well. Is there any designs that you want us to cover, you want to see more of or whatever? Let us know.
That's right. But other than that, we will see you again in 2 weeks' time.
Thanks for watching and stay nice and safe, guys.
Ciao for now.
Bye-bye for now.